This is a very basic looking example of a metadata model. It's nothing too fancy. It's built in beautiful Microsoft Excel. And I want to speak to this with you. So I want you to see these things. Again, you're going to get this presentation emailed to you, so you'll see these things. As you can see, this model has 3 categories: the descriptive, the technical, and the administrative. Again, these are some sample fields. These are probably very common to you. There could be a lot more for sure, but I'm just trying to give some examples of what you would see there. So again, if you look at the top bar, you can see some of the other columns are the form of entry. Is it manual? Is it from a drop-down list? Do you type it in? Is it available? Like, do you click on something to get it? Is it a required field? Is it optional? Now, we have to be very careful. There's some fields are required for many reasons, due to compliance issues or just to performance issues. You want to make sure that some things are important. Some things are optional, and that's okay. And if they're filled out, that's great. If they're not, that's not going to affect our current workflow production cycles. In terms of formats, are they text? Is it date? Is it numeric? Again, it's interesting. Maybe not for everyone, but that's a good way to manage your metadata. It's something we'll get to in a different session, but knowing the type of content you have in system is very important. I always include the field length in there. You may think it's not that important, but the different DAM vendors have different field lengths. Why is this important? Well, what if there's a very long description of something and it doesn't fit? Whoops. 2 options. You're either going to have to find a way to make it fit, or yikes, how do we get that field length extension carried beyond 250 characters, which is not a lot of text. Let's be very honest. It's not that much. So something to consider. Every DAM has different options of that. Again, is there a value? Is it from a controlled vocabulary? So controlled vocabulary is something we'll talk about in the next session, but are there terms that you can find for this from a drop-down list? Let's say location. The controlled vocabulary could have a list of 5 locations: Italy, Germany, the United States of America, etc. So there's a choice of options that you have, but they're all controlled options because they're standardized and set out. Or is it something that it's manual where you have to write it in? Or is it automatic? Now, a lot of if you look down in the blue section there with the technical fields, some of those are automatic. Upon ingestion into a DAM, some of these things just pop in sort of magically, thank goodness to the power of the DAM system. So things like format, dimension, resolution, some of those things will just automatically be uploaded for you, which is a great thing. Again, it's given to you. You just take it and say thank you very much. You keep on going forward. The next one, which I think is interesting to include, which is system of record. That's a common term. You might have heard that before. Sometimes the vendors say it. Sometimes you've seen it in other literature. And that's all talking about where is the sort of authoritative source that that asset may sit in. Sometimes the authoritative source could come from something like a PIM, a product information management system. The product data may be coming from there, but comes into the DAM. So you just always want to see where's the origin, where is the system of record for these assets that's giving it its authority. And then lastly, I always include the definition because you have to know what these fields mean. It seems rudimentary, but it's so important to know what these fields mean. And altogether, when you look at this, this is quite a powerful document. And the power of this document is that this is kind of what I like to call it's golden. This describes an asset very well. When you put it together, this sort of begins to look at all of your collection. And this is really something that I'd like to think that if you can get this done and begin to really understand what you have in terms of intellectual control, product control, it's sort of a golden thing that you have with a metadata model, and it exists outside the DAM. It is something that is very powerful. If you so choose to change your DAM in, let's say, 3 to 5 years, very common, you've still got the model, and you've got that with you, and it's sort of your ability to manage the content. And this thing is excellent to have. It's common not to have one, but over time, this is something that I encourage you all to have something like this with you.